My apologies. Big apologies to YouTube out there. It's still not streaming out to YouTube. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome. Not everybody apparently. Just half the stream. Just Twitch for now. YouTube, I've been trying to get better about starting the YouTube streams pretty close to when the actual stream starts, because YouTube has this thing of putting out the video as a video later, and people who jump into the video, if you have like more than 20 seconds of waiting before a video, you lose most of your viewers. So I try to start the stream for YouTube like right on the spot, but man, it takes a little while to transmit it over to you folks. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, hey there. It is it's another month, and every month me and Mrs. T like to put on a little community podcast. We do the launch sequence every week, Citizen Central every month, but we also want to continue to do, give a little voice to the community and let folks come on here into the greenhouse and talk about our topic of the month. This month, it's going to be about gameplay, because we've got a lot of gameplay coming this year. Well, we say that. We've got a lot of gameplay in the design phase, in the design engineering and implementation phase, and there are a lot of different viewpoints as to what's most important for Star Citizen, what's going to push it forward, what might be the most influential gameplay. Some people think it could be beacons, some people think medical, capital ship gameplay, bringing in the Polaris, whatever it might be. There are plenty of different viewpoints as to what should be coming into Star Citizen in a big way this year. So we're going to host the Greenhouse podcast today. It's open to the community on our Discord server as always. You can call in and join me right here on this screen as my guest, or we can just, chill and chat, and you guys can look at this dude as well. And yeah, that's what we'll be doing for the next couple of hours. We try to stick it to about 6 minutes per person. So I've got a little timer here, believe it or not, a little handy dandy timer. It's crazy what these phones can do these days. And we'll stick to about 6 minutes. It always depends a little bit on how many people are coming in, how many are in line. We've got 12 people RSVP'd for this one, but generally you get maybe 1 out of every 10 people to RSVP actually showing up. So who knows how it's going to be, but we've got a first guest here all ready to go. Take a little sip. By the way, welcome in, folks. Good to see you. Brigadier Bo, Walgrit, Maverick, my friend. Oh man, your name is so dark blue. Payback. There you go. How you doing? Echo 418. 418. Echo 418. Wait, hold on. That's not Fohammer, right? Echo, I thought she started with a 3. Echo 319. Who's 418? I don't know that one. Roy, welcome. Good to see you. Blue Rage, hello. Or is it Bluer Age? Mo, welcome. Welcome. Drazen. What's up, everybody? Adib. Toast Gang in the house. Deplorable Gaming. Good to see you. All right. Let's get started with the Greenhouse podcast today. Like I said, bringing in a first guest. I'm going to give you a little invite to come up here, and then you can join me. Hello. Looks like you might be muted. I hope this channel doesn't automatically mute you. Shouldn't. Hello. Oh, it might be your microphone. Give you a cool minute. We've got Alien though coming in here. Let me change the. Well, we could figure something out with this, right? Let's see, it's an Alien with a 3 though. You gotta watch out for those. Whoop. Good old back in the day times. Bam. See, that's practically like you guys are looking at them. Uh-oh. You don't need to see my whole Discord. There you go. That gets the job done, right? This is actually the last month we will not have an overlay for this podcast. Keep an eye out. Next episode's going to be much better looking. Had a microphone problem. I think popped on out. Let me make sure that the permissions in this channel are good for you guys. If maybe that was a me thing. Because everybody should be able to talk. Yeah, should be able to talk. Okay. Apparently it was a muting thing on my end. Let's see what I can do. In toes we trust. What kind of, what does that flag look like? Alrighty. Let's try this again. Invite on up. Ooh, I love that hangar view. Man, squadron about to look good. And I will give you, let's see, I'll mute you and then unmute you. How about now? No, is there something going on with this channel? Well, this is a first for us, folks. Let me continue to dive through permissions here while you all enjoy the lovely this.
Rotation, you can always count on at least one of them getting hurt.
We also have you covered in everyday life. The medical staff work diligently for their patients, whether they're players or crew. We really want you to feel part of an authentic crew, an important part of the UEE Navy in an enormous universe of people going about their everyday lives.
Let's go ahead and clear for takeoff. Ground crew, prep bay for takeoff.
Copy that.
Hangar, ready for launch. Takeoff approved, Baron 2. You have the ball.
Square the deck, let's line it up.
We're ready and hold on as you're launched off the deck of the carrier.
Baron 2, you are cleared for launch. Have a safe flight, Baron 2.
We want you to not only decide how you play the game, but to feel as if the people you interact with are in that world with you.
I do not know, guys. I don't know what we're missing here. Hey, can you hear me? Can you talk?
This R97 is sleek as hell. Like a lot of other weapons in Gemini's arsenal, it has a higher rate of fire than most guns of its type.
Unfortunately, hey, what did I say, folks? None of the people who RSVP'd showed up, so I don't have anybody else I can test with here.
We're working to support a feel of authenticity through world traversals.
Let me see if this
running,
is...
jumping and climbing.
Yo, it is working now.
Okay, so it was a different profile thing going on?
No, do you know what it is? Because I'm the black alien, right? I got two profiles going on, right? So, you know, nobody knows where to get me. That's just the whole thing about the black alien. I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So you might catch me on that Discord, you might catch me on this one, but this is the one that works.
All right. Well, I'm glad we found one that works. How's it going?
100. Not too bad, man. How have you been, my friend?
Good. Just getting along with waiting for the Star Citizen news to pick back up. How about yourself?
Okay,
You've been what have you been thinking of the year so far with this game?
Oh, do you know what? It's been up and down for me. Every time I've kind of jumped on Star Citizen, this year, let's take it from the beginning, right? So jumping back into Star Citizen this year, I found out that all my ships had been wiped and everything, right, from the last kind of patch. So I was like, okay, gonna have to do a bit of grinding again. I managed to get myself back up to the ships that I had. Still a few upgrades to do in them. Still got to get the XL1s and everything else put in them. But apart from that, near enough where I left off.
Okay.
I think what they've added is really cool. I'm loving the features, the tractor beam, um, all those little features right there, even with the salvaging and stuff like that. I think that's really been something that's been quite cool.
Cool.
What I'm not feeling about with Star Citizen at the moment, right, is some of the ship and the flight handling, and just in general, like how the game feels. I feel like earlier patches, it felt something a bit more, it felt a bit better. But now I guess as they're doing more, it feels like they've slacked off a tiny bit. And also one thing I'm gonna bug them about, right, is black hairstyles. You as a black man knows, they need to be more diverse, right? Because we got no black hairstyles, and they just added new hairstyles recently. I've seen this, and they still ain't added no black hairstyles, right? So that's the issue for me, right? The main thing is the black hairstyles. But
Did you
apart
watch?
from that,
Did you watch CitizenCon?
no, I didn't.
Oh,
Fill me in.
they showed off black hairstyles there. So they've got them working. Yeah, it's another update coming out later this year.
Okay, right. So let me give you some insight into this, right? I made a huge complaint, and actually I was just speaking to your missus below. One of my friends actually worked on the Star Citizen, on one of the teams for Star Citizen. He was into modeling, and he was developing things. I'm gonna try and get him on here so you can have a conversation with him, because I know you'll like him. What I did like a year ago, I complained to one of the major developers, right? One of the guys who's always in their videos, right? And I found him on Discord, and I complained to him, and I was like, "Listen, bro," I was like, "the lack of black hairstyles is ridiculous." I really made a big thing about it. So if they really like decided to add this stuff into CitizenCon, and somebody please get a clip, or I'll go and look for it myself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Go.
I would like to think that's because of me.
Oh, they've got the CIG's always been very receptive to the community, and trust me, there has been some heavy pressure from the black community trying to get a little bit more representation there, and I think that they've been working at it for a while. There's actually been a character, Tisha Pacheco, they introduced back in 2018, I think it was, and they told us, yeah, we're working on the hair engine, the upgraded hair engine that'll help with more hairstyles like hers and other hairstyles we want to do, but that'll come a little bit later. And now here we are. It's 5 years later, but they're getting it done finally.
Do you know what the actual reason was that they told me as to why they didn't have black hairstyles in? I want to see if you know first, but I'll tell you what they told me.
Yeah, it's difficult to make.
Nah, they told me it was because of it was clipping through helmets and stuff like that.
Oh, well, everything clips through helmets. I mean, I don't think that would be...
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
No, they went over it in depth at CitizenCon. I would go watch that panel because they talk about the way that they've made it work, the work they're trying to do to actually make it work better in ways that other game companies can't do, and why it took so long.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm definitely gonna go and give that a watch after you've done this podcast. I
It's
think
a good watch.
one thing, I hear you with that. I definitely believe you. I think one thing with Star Citizen is, as we all know, in playing Star Citizen, right, is that Star Citizen can be a very fun game, frustrating game, but more than anything, Star Citizen, the level of detail and what these developers have done and what they've managed to achieve via what they've been doing is amazing. And we know we're still in alpha, so we're expecting all of these things to keep on happening as they're happening. However, they are doing a really good job. They are making something that our community loves, and I think everybody can resonate when they say they take a break from Star Citizen for a bit, because it gets so repetitive of doing the same old stuff and making and having a big bank load of money. It kind of gets boring to the point of, like, I feel like we should take it and do like a Star Citizen RP or something like that, like a 5M, but
yeah, I think there's a lot of RP. There's a lot of RP potential in this game.
There's a lot, man. Like, can you imagine having like some really big like companies and like corporations that people just group together and work for, and just shit breaking out between the next person and it's crazy. And you think about how far 5M's gone, for example. When you think about this as Star Citizen is on a scale of like it's on a bigger scale than 5M ever is, right? Star Citizen's massive. The potential, the detail, just you're gonna catch me on my 890 jump with some real gangster, you know what I'm saying, with some real gangster minded people in the universe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Star Citizen's got a lot of potential for that, man. It really does.
Man, I hope to see it in the future, man. I really hope we can pioneer that way forward, and you know what I'm saying. I hope everybody that hears me is like can resonate with that as well, like with that RP perspective. I think it would really add that next level of oomph to the game and stuff like that.
I think that's going to be a big part of it for sure.
What joysticks do you use? That's a question I have for you.
I'm mouse and keyboard.
Your mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not
a
really
joystick person. Or?
We move around so much that I don't have the time to set them up. So I generally just stick to...
because I don't know. See, I don't know if you remember me, right? But this was a while back. We're going back a couple years back. I started watching your videos very early on. You told me that obviously where you lived. I'm not going to say it because I don't know if you want people to know.
Oh yeah, people know. People know. It's
okay,
fine.
Yeah. You told me you was in Turkey, and then you told me like you go back and forth between the States and Turkey, and Mississippi in the States at the moment. So yeah, but do you not find like having a pair of joysticks in the crib would be useful every now and then?
No, I do absolutely. Honestly, they're expensive. It takes a lot to set them up. I just don't have the time or the space really to do it. Once I do settle down a little bit more and we've got our computer sets built out, like that's the joysticks are kind of like after you've built your computer, right? We still have stuff that we need to do for our computers for them to run well, so those will come later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. What kind of spec are you running on your PC? Last question, and that's it.
I am doing well, in this computer I've got a 10700K processor, which is our bottleneck, but 3080 Ti graphics card, 48 gigs of RAM, SSD. No, everything else is pretty standard. It's really the processors that mess us up. It's what happens with Star Citizen. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. All right, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll let somebody else come on and do their thing. But listen, it's been a pleasure, man. You are the guy. Make sure everybody subscribe to this guy because he's the guy. Listen, he's got the hoodest people from London listening to his stuff. You know what I'm saying? So listen, subscribe to Space Tomorrow, right?
Shout out to London.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to the Black Alien, man. Come on. All the best, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it, dude. Have a good one.
Take it easy. See you later.
All right. Catch you later. So yeah, I think well, it's kind of on the screen. It's not really on the screen, but character customization is a pretty important part of the game, and honestly, not something that people usually talk about too much, but it's definitely a big thing. I think I can probably like find the spot here. I didn't want to click through it too much and spend that much time on it, but it's important. Here you go. This is the talk that they had about all the work that was going into that stuff. I would definitely check this out if that's something that you're interested in. The work that they've done to go into their hair and the way it works, it's kind of cool because a lot of people have complaints about Star Citizen taking too long or taking too much money. And then you realize when a company has a lot more ability to spend money on something that might need to be cut to, ship a game, it starts to explain why they can hire somebody that spends a ton of time to come up with some proprietary method of making hair just so that it works that little bit differently. And there's not going to be a publisher or a set of investors that are pissed that they wasted money on that. Instead, there's just backers. But what ends up happening is there are backers like my man Alien here who also want this stuff. So you have you have a balance across the community of some people want this, some people don't. CIG says, hey, we want to do, the stuff that we said we were going to do for the community. So the people who want it went out and get it. That doesn't happen every time. They say no to a lot of things. They don't do quite a few things, but man, they've said yes to a lot of things too. Oh my God. But yeah, I do appreciate what they're doing with the hair, and I can't wait to see what the next update is. Because like he said, first one was cool. It gave us some hair, as you can see here in this video going on. But the next one, that's what we're waiting for. That's when we get that's when we're gonna get the character customizer. That's when we're gonna get beards. We're gonna start to get the ability to change the color of our hair, which, gosh, during the presentation really made some people angry. Makeup, complexion, We're going to be able to do more of like our facial sculpting. You can see kind of back here. It's a much better system than we've had before. And like all kinds of, different skin stuff. It's a lot better character customizer and better hairstyles. So that's a good one, honestly, to call out. All right. Our next guest today is going to be, I believe, going to be Valisov, member of the org.
What's up, Tomato?
What's up, Valis? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. What is your what's your topic for me today? What are you looking forward to?
For me, it's master modes and control surfaces. I think that's the most interesting thing coming for me personally.
Master modes and control surfaces. Okay. Tell me more.
After, we've been doing tons of org events and getting involved in, last week with like Jack and stuff like that, seeing how much space combat devolves into jousting, and it's master modes looks very interesting, and playing it a bunch in Arena Commander, it just feels way better, and it feels way more engaging than it currently is in the PU.
Yeah. It's very it splits people a lot. Why do you think people have such strong opinions one way or the other on it?
I think when you start getting into like the 1% of people who kind of play games for a living, basically streamers and people who kind of devote tens of thousands of hours to something, that they are very much edge cases. And I think you see this in games like Tarkov and things like that. Anytime any kind of something like a skill-based matchmaking comes into, so like Halo or anything like that, you start getting people when they can't we call it pub stomping for people who don't know that, but like they get people who are really good can go into a match with no skill-based matchmaking, and they can just click heads all day, and it kind of makes it a bad experience for people who are at the bottom, and they complain a lot about the skill gap shrinking with master modes. But to me, you can't just listen to your people at the very top, because that there's such small percentages. If you have someone go in, play, and they're instantly deleted, they're not going to play again, right? Like it's not a fun experience for 99% of the crew. So to me, like that's going to be, I think, the hard part about all of this stuff, where how do you ride that line of like engaging the people who are kind of like promoting your game on streaming and things like that, but also get people who are not into that, but want to just go play an hour at night and have a good time, and not just get completely dumpstered on outside the second they leave Seraphim because somebody's like just blasting them and flying circles around them. So
sure,
so I think master modes will help kind of compress that a little bit and make it a little bit easier for the fight or flight. And
so is it pretty definitive then that master modes is shrinking the skill ceiling? Because I feel like it goes back towards the model that people always liked before 3.0.
I mean, like if you hear someone like Avenger 1 or anybody who's kind of complains about master modes, like, oh well, it's just ruining it for they're making it so the people who are good, they want to be good, and they want to kind of have that elite edge. But to me, I like it going back to the way it used to be. You have to have a decision, like, am I going to fight or am I going to get the hell out of here? I can't just we were fighting a guy in an arrow last week who could completely disengage, have his shields recharge instantly, come back, disappear off radar, and just gun it out of there. And to me, that just didn't feel like a very he stayed alive with, I think there was like 8 of us against him, and that to me doesn't feel like a balanced engagement.
Sure, but at the same time,
fighter shouldn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, at the same time, that person is saying, hey, I'm good enough to do this, I should be allowed to.
Sure, but I think that's to a point, right? Like, you shouldn't have an arrow be able to fight against an entire squadron.
Yeah,
it just doesn't.
Yeah, I think there's like a line to split between, oh, this person is legendary, look at how much they can do, and then also the game kind of scaling it back and being like, yeah, this person's legendary, but also this allows for too many people to just stomp.
Yeah, I mean, you run into this in every competitive game, right? Like, and it goes back to like Halo 2, Halo 3, all that stuff. There's always going to be those 1% of people who can just kill everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's kind of the big debate right now. And to me personally, as someone who's played Star Citizen for 10 years or whatever, I appreciate master modes. I love flying. I love doing all that stuff, but I think it needs to be more accessible, and a little more forgiving. But I also like the fact that control serves are coming in where, you know, you can, if you're better in atmosphere, your ship's better, you can kind of pull that fight down at Atmo and then have a real dogfight, like a, you know, simulator style thing. And you worry about your airframe. And I like the whole, the idea of trade-offs and you making a decision, and it's not just about, you know, who has the best turn rate on their nose, right? And who has the best, you know, they can roll the best and jank their pip and all that other crap. I think it needs to be more based around actual flight model and actual how things are working than, you know, you just have air superiority. I don't know. Yeah.
It's definitely interesting that it doesn't feel like they're just across the board trying to make the game easier. They might be doing things to the flight model to make flying in 0G different, but at the same time, they're also introducing things like component targeting, which obviously makes your ability to target things specifically a lot more important. Or, like you said, control surfaces, which incorporates your aerodynamics and makes you think more about how your ship is shaped. And then engineering is going to bring in more heat systems and possibilities for your ship to break. And it's like, it's not just an across the board nerf of, hey, we're taking away that skill ceiling. It's more just trying to balance it throughout different aspects of flight, it feels like.
100%. And I like that to me, when they bring in master modes and they're bringing in this ship targeting and they're bringing in all that choice that every pilot and every crew is going to have to do of like, what am I going to do? Am I going to fight here? How am I going to reinforce my engineers and make sure they're on staff to fix this stuff? And are my gunners good? You know, or am I going to run, drop my shield and get the hell out of here? You know, is armor coming into that? Yeah. Are they going to make size 1 and size 2 weapons not affect bigger ships? That to me is the interesting part of all this stuff, that it's not just about, you know, on and or off, like my guns are on, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. It's like, I got to figure out what I'm doing. And that to me is interesting. And that's what I look forward to this year.
And I guess, really, when you look at other games, this is the part that you don't see of other games, when they come up with a system and realize that system doesn't do what they want it to for the game, so they scrap it. And it's
100%.
It's interesting. It's really cool to be a part of that process. And like, this is clearly a design decision. It's not right or wrong. So having the community engaging amongst each other and saying whether or not people are right or wrong is pretty healthy for the game.
I mean, like if you think about like Bungie, like, you know, they do internal play tests and internal LAN parties, right? And they've got 16, 32, however many people playing locally and giving feedback immediately. Now Star Citizen, you've got thousands of people doing that. And that can just be better for the game, I think. So yeah, it's cool to open that up and have us involved. And, you know, I don't wish it on anybody at CIG. That's a lot of feedback to digest and deal with, and a lot of people complaining. So
it's hard to
get on that. Good on them for being transparent about it. You know, it's cool.
Yep. All right, man. Thank you for joining me today. Talk a little bit about your interests. The flight system's definitely going to be a big one to watch this year.
All right. Have a good one, man.
You too. Catch you later. Cheers. Yeah, master modes is definitely, I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this who are for or against master modes in different forms. A lot of people like myself are probably waiting to see how it comes together, because there's a lot of nuance in how quickly your ship changes from one mode to another, and how this affects ships that are larger and things like that. So we got a lot of work to do in the flight model, I think, and it's not going to settle down for a while. They're going to get these initial ships figured out for Squadron probably, but for us, this is going to likely be a multi-year ongoing thing. Master modes will be nice to have in game and then go through multiple passes to refine its gameplay effect. Yeah, I think so too. Hey, Walgrit, thank you for the subs, mate. Appreciate it, dude. Gifting out the 5 subs over on Twitch. Like the homie. YouTube's giving problems. You remember CIG saying a great pilot in an Aurora will be able to win over a poor pilot in a better ship? Is that still the case with master modes? Yeah, I think so. If anything, it seems like it kind of means that Gladius, or that better ship, whatever it might be, it would be more likely that the Aurora pilot can beat them, because that ship now it can't take advantage of maybe super, super high speeds and heavy shields and weapons all at once. It needs to pick and choose. Then again, so does the Aurora, but simplifies the equation a little bit. Our next guest today, Mock Shade. Welcome in, my friend. I'm going to invite you up. Hop on in here with me. Toes.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
You doing a camera today?
Yeah.
All right. Let me throw you on here.
Sure.
Very nice.
Got the background with all my junk.
Wonderful. People like the junk. The junk is what tells everybody your personality. They start
For
with all the
sure.
conversation starters.
For sure.
All right. Give me 1 second. I got to mute you here. There we go. All right. How's it going, man?
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I've only been in New York for like maybe a month or so. But yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Been enjoying it?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of been with Star Citizen like around the edges for maybe like 2 years now, but I think like a lot of people after 318 it was just tough, and then like 320ish kind of jumped back in, and now it's like, oh, we can play this now. This is like legit, you're not going to get annoyed with the crashes and stuff like that. Like, so
when did you join Star Citizen?
It was probably 2021, somewhere in there. Bought like Cuddy Black, and then was like, oh, okay, well, what do we, how do we do this? And then try to do like the mining stuff and all that. And I'll be honest, it's tedious. There's a lot of tedium in the game still, but I feel like that's kind of par for the course for like a game that's in that development phase. Because that's so I sort of come from that background. I got my degree in game development. Actually, I don't do that. I'm a software engineer for the VA. I'm a contractor for the VA.
Probably pays a bit better.
The hours, man. It's the hours. God love them, and our heart goes out to all those developers these days losing their jobs.
Oh, yeah, it's rough right now.
Heartbreaking, but man, the hours are absolutely crushing. So it's like, okay, I want a life, and I want to be able to enjoy things, and maybe one day we'll go back to that. But
that's rough too. It's really disappointing to be like so into the industry and really enjoy the games, and even the studios, and like seeing the people who make them, and then just realize how abusive it is to the employees. Like I feel like, I mean, not to get too deep into that, but I just would love to see them be unionized so they don't get laid off 2,000 people at one time.
Yeah, it's tough, and the merchants and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, sure, there's some overlap here. You can see where, okay, well, we don't necessarily need, but yeah, like you said, not to get too deep, but it's like 2023 was a banner year.
Mm-hmm.
Let a lot of people go. So anyway, not to be
it's
too
a big topic right
topic.
now. Like, it's hard not to talk about that in gaming.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that to say, like, I get the development side.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of been in that world. So for me, I don't know. There's a little known game these days. I think Tribes it's old school. It's from like the 90s.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, and so I played the third one, Tribes of Vengeance. Got super big into it. Tiny community, maybe towards the end there was a couple hundred people, and then a local studio bought the rights to it, and I got to go be an in-house alpha, and this level of excitement. And I think we're kind of in that phase right now of this level of excitement of like, hey, we're building the game, and like you were talking with Valis, like, hey, all of these ideas of hey, we're dreaming right now, and these dreams could come true, and we have a potential to impact that and the direction on the game. And I felt like I got that, and long story short, that game kind of fell flat. The developers didn't, maybe they didn't structure right, and the funding went under, and long story short, it was not great. But you know what, right now they're bringing a new one back, and it's like the same excitement again.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
But this level of excitement around the game, and I guess my big thing with Star Citizen is like, I've tried Elite Dangerous and some of these other space sims, and they just don't really scratch the itch. They don't really go far enough, and it's like Star Citizen has all that potential. And I just wonder the MMO side of it. I'm like, to me what is that? How are we really gonna like leverage that to bring people in? And the thing I always go back to is one of my first MMOs was PlanetSide, and man, it was the most awesome thing ever. For the first time, you get like hundreds of people on the same side. We're fighting over this base for hours, and then finally you win. And wow, that was such an epic, awesome thing. And I'm kind of like, how do we bring things like that? Because it feels like that's the kind of game that this could be. Not necessarily the combat, but the scale, the epicness, the interaction of all the people. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's got a job. We're all doing things. You know, how do we bring that stuff in? I don't know. I'm curious to your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've been here a couple of years, so I'm sure you've heard plenty about server meshing.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of that's sort of their holding back from more of that larger scale MMO feeling kind of gameplay. And I think that's kind of why we're seeing the development around both base building and capital ship gameplay starting to kick off this year, because server meshing's finally in a state where they're like, okay, this might happen in the next couple of years. That's when I think you're going to start to feel more like this is an MMO rather than just your experience that you're running around playing. It might not be like your normal MMO where you're seeing 15 people every single place you go, but you're going to see more spaceships leaving space stations. You're going to see more people showing up to dynamic events and more people being on ships together rather than just flying around ships on their own.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's going to be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we're going to need a lot of systems for that to really feel the scale. And I just wonder how long it's going to take for us to get 5, 6.
Okay, you mean star systems rather than
star
like
systems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stanton's done at this point in terms of space. Nyx is probably mostly done. Granted, they've been reworking Delamar, but that's a system that the main landing zone, the one landing zone they had, was already in the game. They took it out of the game in 2019, and I think that was when Microtech came in. So it was kind of the first place in the game, and then they were like, okay, we don't need this anymore. Stanton has all its planets, so they took that out. That's probably in the Nyx system, which is, I would say, by the time we hear about it, probably a year away. Pyro's done, so that would be 3 systems. Odin is the main game in Squadron 42, so to bring that up to PU standards, I'd expect a couple years on that maybe. Vega, same story, as that's also in Squadron 42. And then I think the main system they're really going to try and push for to be their main kind of launch system would be Terra. So I would expect, 3 to 5 systems in 3 to 5 years. But I don't...
Is that enough? Do you think that's enough?
Absolutely. I think 1 system's enough. I don't really subscribe to the idea that the star systems are what expands Star Citizen. I think it's more the reputation systems, the factions that they have, because there's so much space in this game already. They don't really use much of it. But I get where you're coming from as well, in the sense that we need more star systems. I think that would definitely make the game feel more different in terms of scale. And I don't disagree that we need star systems for the game to work. I think that they can hit that MMO feeling without necessarily expanding star systems. But tell me more about like what you're looking for. You said PlanetSide, kind of fighting over bases.
Yeah.
Take like a gameplay that you like, maybe the gameplay you're looking forward to. How would you like to see that scale up with people?
Honestly, the most interesting thing to me right now would be probably like security around like we've kind of done it in the org, a couple times where we're just stimulating the idea of like protecting, whatever. Say it's a freighter. Say it's like someone carrying cargo.
Mm-hmm.
And when all these things come into play, like the quantum system, right, comes into play, and that really gets going, and cargo hauling becomes a thing. The incentive to attack that stuff is going to be so much higher. I mean, it already is, but I think it'll be higher. And I think it's going to be cool to actually, fly escort on that kind of stuff. I think that's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that's exciting to me is like, imagine that cross systems. So imagine, we got to jump, not just this system, the next one, and then the next one. You know, what are we going to run into along the way? That's super exciting to me, and I think there's so many places for like emergent gameplay there.
That's fair, because they do have the different security levels between systems. So you'd get like even the difference between Grimhex and Daymar is going to be smaller than the difference between Stanton and Pyro, right? It's kind of what you're saying. Do you think so? Are you really looking forward to Pyro then as like a big advancement in the game for you?
Yeah, I think that could be super cool. Just with the fact of like, you know, if we do get a lot more of the systems that they want to implement, like let's say we get base building, and because that's going to mean we're going to get resource gathering. Now there's a reason to have these giant cargo ships, and there's something at stake. We're going to build something with all these materials. So actually having like, hey, we're going to do this run, you know, that's fun. That to me, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we got to go out and then we got to protect it. And you know, what does protect it look like? And all of these things to try to figure that out. And we got to understand strats and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it.
I think that's like their new, for lack of a better term, their new carrot. Server meshing and like the new system has been this thing everyone's been excited about for so long, and now they're about to launch it, and it's like, okay, but now you can build bases there, and you're like, whoa, all the things I can do with that. Yeah, it's exciting, and that's I think that's like the biggest potential for the MMO stuff that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And not just, I mean, all the things that go with it too, right? Like all of the different systems it's all kind of like you can kind of, and that's what I meant by like we all have our own image in our head of like what is this going to look like. In practice, it's going to be different, and hopefully we can all just kind of get around that and be good with it, because you know they're going to try to, it's going to get tweaked and things like that. But you know what we'll probably get will be fun to a degree. It's just, you know, how far away is that? And you know, are we? Yeah, I'm a new waiter, right? Like I haven't been waiting as long as a lot of people have for a lot of cool stuff. So it's like, are we going to be able to get there within a time frame where, you know, it's reasonable? And it seems like they're like turning a corner. So it's super exciting. To just be around the game at this point.
Yeah, I'm guessing as somebody with experience, you can kind of see where they are developmentally with a lot of the systems. From my less, I never got schooled in it or anything, but from my perspective, it definitely looks like they've reached a level where they're a lot more confident in the systems they've been building than before.
Yeah, absolutely. What do they call it? The Maelstrom system? I don't know. A decade ago, I tried to throw something together like that in Unity, and it was super finicky, and it just never really penetrated. It's super cool when you get physics and like dynamic destruction to work, but you know, just looking at even that now, I'm like, oh wow, they kind of like figured this out, and that is super cool. Is that gonna run? That's my question. It's like, hey, is that gonna be a bottleneck? Is that gonna like hurt performance?
The biggest thing is like what happens when an outpost gets destroyed? Does it just automatically respawn? Do they have something come in and like kind of repair it so it's over time it respawns? Like
the players need to repair it.
Well, yeah. Imagine you had like a mission sensitive outpost you had to go to, and like you couldn't complete it because nobody repaired the building yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it gets messy, right? And then you get like griefing involved, and it's like, okay, well, they got to figure that out. But yeah, you want some training wheels, right? You want some guardrails, but like let it kind of live and breathe as a real world.
It's gonna be, I mean, everything that they do to answer kind of the questions we have presents more questions, which is an interesting journey. But I am beyond excited to see some of the things that you were talking about, like base building, and even just the idea of being in like an enemy org, scanning a planetary surface to be like, man, where's that base that they keep attacking us from? Stuff like that.
You know, they've got an outpost and they're trying to take over territory, they're trying to expand theirs. Okay, now we need to, you know, just so much like cool, and then that just builds like this idea of like there's strategic stuff happening outside of the game for stuff that happens inside of the game.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, where the fun happens, right?
Oh boy. For some people.
Yeah.
All right. Were there any other thoughts? Any other things that you were really looking forward to over the next year or two? Do you want to talk about?
I just want to say, thanks for putting out the content. I mean, you're one of the reasons I got more involved with the game. I was like, wow, this is great stuff. Thanks for what you do, and keep doing it.
It's fun to do it, man. I'm glad that people enjoy it, and there are enough people out there that like space and Star Citizen in general that we can keep this going.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being part of the community, man. Thanks for joining GII as well. Hope to see you in an event soon.
Yeah. See you.
All right. Catch you around.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All right. So, looks like we don't have any more guests today. Man, I don't think any of the people who RSVP'd came. Oh no, Valis came. I guess you guys are, and Mock Shade came. I guess you guys were RSVPing more to hear it than to come on. I do invite you though, if you're part of the GII community. Oh, hey, look. This is what was playing behind him the whole time. If you are part of the Garden community on our Discord, y'all are free to come in here and share your thoughts. We do this every month, just about, and I like to keep it pretty free. It used to be limited to people who were more active on our Discord, but now it's really just anybody who has been there for like a couple of days and is able to meet our standards of, not like telling me to go myself on camera or something. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's about it for today. Thank you for listening, if you are. As always, we've got this ad-free on audio platforms, any podcast platform you like, but it's also available on video. In addition, we've got our regular podcast, Launch Sequence and Citizen Central, both of which are coming out a little bit more often, but Citizen Central is also monthly. And if you didn't catch it, the latest video is up on YouTube, all about the things happening in 2024. If you happen to be listening to this like 5 months later, I would love for you to go see that. Do a little retrospective. Tell me if we had anything going on that was actually in that video. But other than that, this has been The Greenhouse. Thank you for coming. And with that, our last Greenhouse podcast with the old layout. Y'all are going to see something special next time. Don't think 5 minutes of silence from you would be entertaining. Oh, come on. You wouldn't talk to me? You wouldn't tell me all your deepest Star Citizen desires? Like, Star Citizen, why aren't you modeling each toe separately at this point? Can you even see bare feet in this game? Not that I care. God, why even say stuff like that? It's not actually important to me. I was just wondering. You can hop in. You're still a bit psyched about the same stuff. Yeah, feel free to hop in. We're done at this point, but I'm still here to chat about the same thing. We'll still keep it to the same timelines and stuff, but I see you, Colt. Might join on the next one. Would love to talk about server meshings more in depth. The next one, what will the next one be? That's going to be February, so we will finally be getting into talking about the year ahead. The next one's probably going to be about 323 and what people are excited for in that update. So if you are anticipating some excitement around 323, and I am, it sounds like they are hoping to get quite a few significant things in. I think that would be a great time to come on here and talk about what's making you excited. Hey Blackburn, how you doing? Tomatoes gang. Toes gang. 323 hype. What are you guys hoping of all things ends up in 323? Like what's your number one expectation? Not expectation, desire. Tell me your realistic hope and then give me a slash and then give me your to the moon hope. Absolute moonshot. Star map. I'm seeing a lot of star map and UI updates. Yup. I'm right there with you. Star map and cargo elevators. Star map. You guys are interested in some pretty realistic stuff. That's good. Moonshot of star map. Okay. Granted, 323 maybe. Actually, no. I think these are realistic for 323. Those are solid, especially the what's it called? Ah, man. The persistent hangers. We've been expecting those for over a year now, and they've shown them in quite a few ways at this point. I think that's a possibility for 323. I remember when that was a possibility for 318 and 319. For you, real, they have to deliver this first half. I hear you. If no star map, then we riot. Honestly, I mean, what else can you do? You can't make me use it more than another couple months. Banu Merchant Man? Banu Merchant Man? The end of 30Ks. Okay, replication layer split. Should help with that. I don't know if that'll mean necessarily we'll end 30Ks, but... Long shot would be exploration gameplay. What are you including there, Maverick? Moby Glass, okay. Stairs and stations. Realistically, you think they're gonna add stairs to stations? They like your suffering. They enjoy watching us on elevators. Your moonshot is a working economy driving gameplay. Ooh, that is a moonshot. We need the hangers to help quality of life for faster game setup. Yes, we do. Long shot corp tools. Org tools? Nah. I wish. You're interested in the science stuff and gardening stuff. Yeah, that's probably still a little ways out. They've surprised us a couple times, though. Showing us a little bit of farming stuff in the past. 323 has to be the UI, the star map, and the cargo elevator. The UI and the star map are... I mean, we're seeing that, like, this stuff, in terms of quality of life, just the idea of having a default prompt pop up on any item that you can interact with is a game changer. Like, it's such a small thing. But this just went from a game where you don't know what you can pick up and what you can't, and having to press a button to know every time, which for new players is a pretty big deal, to a game where every single item you can interact with will tell you before you even look at it. These kinds of little things are such game things that you would expect them to be in the game 6 years ago, but they weren't. So when they come into the game now, you're like, well, yeah, duh. But if you've been playing this game for a while, you know how big a deal this is about to be. My favorite thing about this, though, little known thing, you actually can change the function for whatever this button is. So, like, when you are doing a when you're walking around and you've got all these loot items on the ground, and that default button press action is popping up on all the things you can interact with, depending on that item, you can change that default action from carry to something else. Like, maybe instead your default action is turn on, and any item that can be turned on automatically would be like a motor, or your, I don't know, another motor. Multiple motors. But I love that for the idea of looting and storing. Yeah, storing is going to be amazing. So you can see all these little, like, UI introductions, like the mini map up here, the freaking compass for FPS gameplay, the emissions for FPS gameplay. You come all the way back here and they're showing off, somewhere in here they're showing off like scanning. No, that's the other panel. There's a lot of little things like that are slipping into these features that are gonna make a big difference. Proper EVA would be good. I think we saw that up here. Yeah, this is the new EVA. They still didn't show us the transition here, I don't think. Interesting choice. Oh, wait, maybe they do here. I see. Wait, so is what they're showing here that he is not using fuel? That he's just gliding from one ship to the other?
So the first thing you should see is that we've made the exit from gravity less disorientating.
Okay.
Oh, we got a face plant. We made it. All right,
Yeah,
so
I
we
think
made the re-entry much more forgiving.
I think what they're showing here is that there's no EVA fuel being
EVA
used.
has a new prone lateral pose, and this is really important to us because it allows us to get close to surfaces, and it allows us to walk across them. So we can see that in this video here. Okay, and as it gets to the end, we're gonna jump off. Okay, here we go, into that. And this smaller profile lets us get into spaces we couldn't get into before, or not easily with the old EVA. We're gonna traverse through here, thread the needle, and also the collision is much more forgiving. We're gonna slide off at slower speeds, so we're not gonna be spinning away.
That is so sick.
Okay, big reveal. Love this station. This is amazing.
I hate in this game when you're EVAing and you try and turn around and your legs hit like the wall behind you and your whole body freaks out and suddenly you're faced the other direction, and I don't want to like freaking murder myself in the game because oh my god, that's annoying. Can you guys actually look at me? Changing my camera view and stuff. Must have missed this at the con. This was the beginning of the first person demo.
Grips, so in the interiors, you might be able to hold on to grips to do interactions and walk between the grips to get better control.
This is going to be much better, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, there's a lot of little tiny things everywhere that are going to make this game feel better. Even this, even like you don't remember this, but the fact that they're changing the prone animations so that, I mean, y'all have seen what happens if you prone and then back up and turn. They've got some weird prone animations in this game, but now they're making it so that you can turn around on your body. You can more easily flip over. It's so much better. How many times you double faceplant in an open hatch trying to get it back into a cargo bay? Every day. Yeah, trying to align with the surface in EVA is very annoying. Oh, here's some more prone stuff. Yeah, they're fixing ladders, they're fixing prone. I mean, almost all of the issues in terms of moving around in this game that make it feel more janky seem to be getting handled. If this works out, you know, if all of this comes into the game and it's actually working pretty solid, it's all functioning pretty well. Then it's gonna be a pretty significant change playing this. When does this arrive this year? The prone animation? These are all things I would hope for 323, to be honest. Scanning and discovery, including data reporting. I think that's what comes with the star map. Ladders that don't kill you would be real cool. Hey, at least we can use ladders, Echo. Be grateful. Fingers this year. Yeah, fingers crossed. If it's in 323, what else do they include with it? If the prone is in 323, I think we'll get most of our locomotion changes, and like these are all really split into categories: locomotion changes, interaction changes, UI changes. I think they'll all come in together in their different categories and then be kind of built out over time. This is another one that's like I would say this is a small change, but it's not. This is a massive change. And this will make FPS gameplay so much better. One of the worst things about FPS right now is that you just can't loot easily. It's awful. Going into your inventory, trying to hit the right touch targets to access people's loot stuff, it's just all of it's just all bad. So, they've updated it with a new menu, and this one makes everything better. How do I see them rolling each group out? That's way too detailed for me. I'm not even going to try that. Y'all are gonna catch me not making those kinds of predictions. Promotion. Oh, motion changes, interaction change. If you can climb a ladder and pull out a pistol and shoot while hanging off and moving out in another direction is going to be so cool. Yeah, is that a thing? Is that a thing in games in general? I don't think I've really played games where I can use my weapons while I'm climbing a ladder. Sounds like something from Uncharted or Tomb Raider. You think this will be used for lockers? That'd be cool. Almost gotcha. I see you, Maverick. I see you. And assassinations. Honestly, assassinations and takedowns are not all that exciting to me. But this is some cool bounty hunting gameplay we got to see. And we've got the new scanning methods in FPS, which again are something you kind of would expect to be in a AAA game, but this hasn't been a AAA game just yet. Jank and SC is like retail. Everyone should experience it at least once. That way they can appreciate when they don't have to anymore. All right, y'all. Management just let me know that things are ready to wrap up. No, we're all done here. In fact, if I do finish up here and spend the next couple of I'm going to be on Captain's Table later today, so you guys should make sure to drop by that if you want to hear more about me chattering. We'll be talking about replication layer split, server meshing, what that'll allow, stuff like that. Nonsense, right? Our thoughts on things that we know nothing about. But it should be a good time. And that'll be happening in about 4 hours, I think. So go have a really, really, really long meal. Make it several courses. Maybe get kind of drunk so you forget what time it is. Meet me back here in about 4 hours. And we'll be talking with Paul. Well, not here. Meet me back on his channel. Besides that, though, I actually will have my own server meshing podcast coming out on Sunday night, Monday morning for you guys ahead of us. As usual, it's a very good talk. I had Tibio's Twisted World, who is a networking engineer who has been doing some content and reactions based on server meshing, and I also had Kevin Riggle, who is a software engineer who also did a reaction to the server meshing panel, had some good insight. Decided to bring them both on so that they could talk back and forth and tell us more about how this stuff might all work and what they think of it. But yeah, that'll be out in a few days. So thanks for joining us today, folks. I should have another video out for you shortly about the creatures and aliens coming to Star Citizen, as well as a quantum travel video out, kind of random out of left field. But I appreciate you all coming to the Greenhouse podcast. This is one that we have been slowly booting up, and I'm excited to see where it goes as a community call-in. Thank you, everybody who joined us today as a guest. I appreciate you all sharing your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed your time on here. I will see you in the next one, I hope, next month, when we're talking about 323 and what you're most excited for there. Wow, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for all the support today. Everybody who did, I see you over there on Twitch, and we got a member on YouTube actually, JS. Thank you for becoming a carrot over on YouTube. Much love to everybody. I hope you have a great day. Stay peaceful, stay juicy. Love the toes. Goodbye. Cheers, y'all.